Welcome back to Garden Talk with Sally. Last week, we planted tomato seedlings indoors to get them started before they go outside. Today, we are going to the nursery to pick out some plants so that we can transplant them inside as well, so that by the time they're ready to go outside, they'll be nice and big. And yes, my doggy Doo has to come with me everywhere. He loves to be in the car. Today, our adventure is going to start in the vegetable house. Today I am mostly looking to buy pepper plants and some basil. In the past, I have grown pepper plants from seed. However, my tomatoes and peppers did not bear fruit at the same time. And since the main reason I do grow peppers and tomatoes is to make salsa, this didn't work out so well. So now I buy my pepper starts and transplant them inside and allow them to grow bigger before I plant them outside. This ensures that my tomatoes and peppers come on at the same time. Our adventure is not going to be completed today until we browse the flower house. Earlier in the spring, I had actually seeded some coleus plants. Unfortunately, none of them germinated, so I need to buy some today. So let's pick some out. My favorite coleus plants are those with deep contrasting colors. Now, to complete our adventure, we must pick out at least one garden gnome feature to take home with me to put in my garden. All right, folks, hopefully you can see in there okay. This is our haul of all the plants that we got that we're going to go back home and we're going to transplant them. Kind of a good little mix there. After going to the nursery today, these are all the plants that we have to transplant inside before putting them outside. So over here, these are the ones that I actually got from the nursery. They're yellow peppers, green peppers, jalapeno peppers, serranos, some basil, some coleus, some impatiens, basil. And these ones are ones that I started inside about 2.5 months ago. These over here are wax begonias. These here are Labelia. These were impatiens, but they never came up, so we'll have to do without those. Right here, we have some geraniums. And I harvest the seeds from last year, which is kind of cool because they cross-pollinate, so you end up with different colors. So every year I'm kind of curious to see what they'll actually look like when they bloom. Here we have petunias, and they're about 2 weeks past transplanting, so they're getting kind of bound up. Right here we have a little wild. You can see that. Oh, let me zoom in there. That is actually a snapdragon, so somehow a seed must have gotten stuck in there. So that'd be kind of cool. Today I am going to start with the Lobelia plant. The Lobelia is an easy to grow, carefree summer plant. This summertime bloomer will continue to produce flowers until the first frost. They are perfect for planters and an asset to the garden. Before I start trying to separate these plants, I'm actually going to saturate the roots with water. This will allow them to come apart more easily. This is the first year using a leftover egg carton to seed my plants. Surprisingly, they came apart easier than I expected. They would continue to grow as they were, but they wouldn't get as big and they wouldn't flower as much, because the roots get root bound and they need nutrition, and the bigger the roots get, the more the plant will grow. Before I forget, Lobelia seeds need temperatures between 65 and 75 degrees to germinate. They will emerge after 20 days. Lobelia is probably one of my favorite flowers to grow in my planters. I like to put them next to like petunias or different colored flowers. They have like a bluish lavender color to them, and it's probably one of my favorite colors. Now that we have separated all of these plants in separate pots, I'm going to set them in this tub of water and allow them to absorb the hydration from the bottom up. It is also known as bottom watering. The next plant I am going to transplant is the Petunia plant. The seeds from the Petunia plant need temperatures between 75 to 80 degrees Fahrenheit in a bright location in order to germinate. The roots on these petunias are pretty bound. I literally should have transplanted these 2 weeks ago. So I'm gonna have to be really careful when separating them. So as I'm trying to do it, I'm just gonna saturate them with water. And then when I transplant them into the pots, the soil is dry. And the reason for that is because I don't want the plant to drown and become overwhelmed. So some of these roots have started to kind of blend together. So it's going to take a little bit of effort to kind of separate these without breaking the root system. So literally I'm going to drown them with water. While trying to untangle the roots, I'm being careful not to break the radical root. The radical root is the first organ to appear after germination and anchors the seedling to the ground. A secondary root, also called lateral roots, are not as crucial. However, I want to keep as many of them intact as possible. Can you see how bound the roots are? This is what exactly not to do. Had I separated them and transplanted them 2 weeks ago, I would not need to spend this much time untangling the root system. The seeds I used to grow these petunias were ones that I actually harvested from last year. Plants are like humans, they adapt to their environment. I live in a climate that is really hot and dry, so I want them to genetically adapt to the climate where I live. One surgically removed so far. Can you see that little root system? We're going to stick it in this pot right here. One down, 500 more to go. Just kidding. Kind of just using that water. Can you see how it's kind of just taking that dirt away? It's going to kind of allow it to separate the root system. Almost there. See, I'm just pulling nice. I'm not forcing it. I'm just pulling it nice and slow to see if it'll come out all on its own. We most definitely are not going to get to our other plants tonight. So I guess we will do this in a 2-part or 3-part series. The other ones are not as dire. But these geraniums right here have got to get transplanted tomorrow, or else we're going to have this exact same problem as we have with our petunias. Now, geraniums do not like a lot of freestanding water, so I'm actually going to have to figure out how to take those out of there and drain this water out of there, or maybe add some dirt on this side to soak up the water. That's actually probably a great idea. That soil is pretty dry. Let's see if that'll soak up some of that water so we don't have to figure out how to lift them out of there. And I don't want to try to dump the water out because I don't want them, I don't want to break my cute little flowers. They're so pretty. Let's see if that soaks up. We'll kind of start to see pretty quick. We'll just pour this on here tonight, and then we will start back tomorrow where we left off. So we'll do this in a 2 or 3-part series. Probably easier to watch anyway. This is very inventive, but I'm going to use this pan because it's going to be sturdy enough to lift that up. I'm actually going to tilt it. Oops, can you see all that water? See all that water right there? It's a lot of water. See if we can't soak some of that up. Going to have to think outside the box on this one for just a minute. Take this little scooper and scoop some of this dirt and some of this water out of here. Alright guys, that's all I've got for you today. That was a pain. That is not how you separate petunias, but at least, hopefully that's a lesson that you'll learn. You want to separate them when they're tiny like this, and then their root system is not so long, and they don't tangle so much. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you found this information useful. If you did, please hit that like, subscribe, and that bell notification at the bottom of the window. Have a great day.